敵車頭隠せ頭隠せ終わりにしようねまだ揺れてるすげえ投げ俺の車終わった何これ何これ何これ何これ何なんだよこれなんなのやこれなんだよこれ
18,000 lives, 400,000 homes, 210 billion USD, the highest loss in the history of natural disasters in the world. March 11, 2011, 2:46 p.m. People in Japan stood frozen, unable to believe their eyes. Walls of water as high as 4-story buildings roared toward the shore at the speed of a jet plane. Within minutes, coastal towns that had stood for centuries were erased from the map. But one haunting question remains. How could a single earthquake swallow an industrial nation in just minutes? Imagine two colossal beasts, locked in a silent battle, deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, unseen for centuries. One is the Pacific Plate, massive and relentless, pushing westward. The other is the North American Plate, stubbornly resisting. For hundreds of years, they've been stuck together, building up unimaginable pressure, like a bowstring pulled to its limit. And then, on that fateful day, the bowstring snapped. The seabed off the coast of Tohoku lurched upward by 3 to 10 meters in just seconds. The colossal mass of seawater above it was thrown violently upward, and that was the birth of the most devastating tsunami in Japan's modern history. What most people don't realize is that the real killer in an event like this isn't the shaking, it's the water. In 2011, the magnitude 9.0 Tohoku earthquake lasted roughly 6 minutes and shifted parts of Japan's coastline up to 2.4 meters eastward. The quake itself claimed hundreds of lives, but the tsunami it unleashed took over 90% of the total 18,000 plus deaths. And here's what few expect. The size of the wave isn't always the greatest threat, it's the reach. In Miyagi Prefecture, the water penetrated 10 kilometers inland on the Sendai Plain. The seabed along a 500-kilometer stretch of the Japan Trench jumped upward by as much as 8 meters, displacing an estimated 5 cubic kilometers of seawater in an instant. The resulting wave traveled at 700-800 kilometers h in deep water, faster than a commercial jet. On land, that water was no gentle flood. It was a grinding conveyor belt of debris, concrete and steel. Cars, fishing boats, entire houses swept away in minutes. And when it finally retreated, it carried thousands of people, countless possessions, and entire communities out to sea, leaving behind a silence that was almost as terrifying as the roar that came before it. This tsunami wasn't just tall, it was cunning. The northeast coast of Japan, Miyagi, Iwate, Fukushima, is lined with narrow funnel-shaped bays. Like a giant megaphone, they focus the wave's power into deadly force. In Miyagi, Iwate, the number shocked the world, 40.5 meters high. That's taller than a 13-story building. Miyagi lost nearly 60% of its coastal population that day. And Fukushima wasn't just drowning, it was staring down the worst nuclear disaster since Chernobyl. Within an hour, the Japanese government declared a national state of emergency. More than 107,000 troops from the self-defense forces were mobilized, the largest deployment since World War II. They joined 9,500 police officers and 11,000 firefighters, backed by hundreds of aircraft and naval vessels, rushing to the disaster zone. But then, Fukushima Daiichi, the nuclear plant on the coast, was engulfed by water. Cooling systems failed. Nuclear fuel began to melt down. 3 hydrogen explosions ripped through the reactor buildings. 164,000 people were forced to abandon their homes, leaving their lives behind. Those who stayed were given potassium iodide to protect against radiation. In the first 2 weeks, the government delivered over 14 million emergency meals and 12 million liters of clean water to nearly 500,000 evacuees. That day, Japan lost more than 18,000 lives. Over 400,000 homes were destroyed or severely damaged. Economic losses soared past $210 billion, the costliest natural disaster in recorded history. But some losses can't be measured: the memories, the communities, and the sense of safety of an entire nation. This disaster was not just a warning for Japan, but for every coastal nation on Earth. Tomorrow, we'll take you somewhere else, where the sea appears calm, but beneath the surface, another giant is stirring. Because in the end, water never forgets its way home. That day, Japan lost more than 18,000 lives. Over 400,000 homes were destroyed or severely damaged. Economic losses soared past $210 billion, the costliest natural disaster in recorded history. But some losses can't be measured: the memories, the communities, and the sense of safety of an entire nation. This disaster was not just a warning for Japan, but for every coastal nation on Earth. Tomorrow, we'll take you somewhere else, where the sea appears calm, but beneath the surface, another giant is stirring. Because in the end, water never forgets its way home.
13時56分、ただいま災害現場では、自衛隊員による行方不明者の捜索が行われています。ありそう？
あ、ガラス注意、ガラス注意、ガラス注意。